Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's day 801 of this Growing Century Plants from Seed series. Everything looks great on top, and I've decided to end this series, so I'm going to excavate and show you the root systems of both this runner that's doing great and its parent plant, which is now sprawling out in all directions and growing bigger, longer leaves. It wasn't that many days ago when I unfurled the second newest leaf from its position. It was stuck due to those fishhook spines it has within another leaf's grasp. So that is already standing straight up. It's got another leaf within its embrace. So this time I'll knock away all the potting mix to show you the entire root ball. The most striking feature is that beautiful pale white ivory tusk of a root that's sticking out at a 45-degree tangent from the top base of the parent plant. The runner looked a lot whiter than this underground back then, and that just goes to show after you do a transplant, some kind of damage has been caused or something triggers a external maturation process. Most of the roots turn brownish or beigeish, and they seem to develop layers of, I wouldn't say it's bark by any means, but some kind of protective covering. Either that or it's just part of the natural maturation process by which roots gradually lose their function if they've been manhandled like this, and then the plant sends out new roots for good reason. You can also see a lot more tiny, thinner white roots just branching out in all directions to gain access after the giant earthquake, so to speak, the transplant that I did, which shifted everything around and disturbed all the root connections to the potting mix. Potting mix is not like wild soil that has very fine grains of silt that completely cake the surface of the roots. It's basically something that these plants have to burrow into and send out much smaller roots and runners to gain access to all that nutrition, all that surface area and water. So you can see the runner has developed quite nicely. It's hard to focus on everything at once, and there's also what looks to be a plant ulcer right above that root where one of the original leaves, the eldest ones, rotted away from moisture, although I'm not sure why it didn't rot away earlier prior to the transplant. Transplants are very stressful on plants, but this is a very hardy species, and it seems like it's unfazed largely by the transplant. So it's done really well in these last 40 days. It's had better access to sun. For most of the series, it was stuck against the edge of a pot. It was the only seed to germinate from my original gift shop packet. So I just never got around to disturbing it. I didn't want to disturb it. I thought that would be bad for it, but in retrospect, I would say if you're annoyed by the positioning of a century plant, go ahead and do the transplant early on, because this is a real champ. It's thrived since, and it doesn't seem to be hindered. It's lost 2 leaves, but it's responded in full to that by generating much more leaf mass. The runner has performed remarkably well independent of its parent plant after being broken off prematurely 40 days ago. That's somewhat of a surprise to me, but given the fleshy, succulent nature of this plant, perhaps it wasn't so. I think plants like these have a greater capacity for regeneration. They have more energy reserves, nutrient stores available, especially in their root systems. And their fleshy leaves are less likely to dry out if broken off as well. Although I haven't tried that. This is an interesting experiment to break off one of these leaves and see if it will grow into an independent plant. I'm sure people have done that with many other succulent and cacti species. So it's about time to wrap this up. Thank you very much, especially if you're one of the original people who started watching this 2 years ago, starting with episode 1. Please keep following my YouTube channel, stay subscribed, and tune in for some other series. I'm trying to get prickly pear cactus to grow from fruit. Thank you for watching.